hopefully, and then we're going to go to tactics and strategy on the third week. And who knows, the technology might actually be working by then. Okay, Rick, switch cameras.
Woo. A seamless segue.
Are we there?
No, we are there.
Oh, superb. Okay. So to start to win, this is going to work. This is going to work. This is going to work. Yes. First, you've got to win the start. So let's get on with that. And what I propose to do here is just do some little, this is what we should try and achieve. And then we've got 4 or 5 videos to see what actually happens in the real world. Because whether we're handicap or class racing, the whole idea of this is to spend as little time on the race course as possible. Oh, press that. So 2 considerations. Firstly, the big strategic picture. What's going to be the shortest course way around this race course? And secondly, tactical problems. That's other people for you and me. So where do I want to go? Before the race even starts, before we even get on the boat, we can gather information. Well, so there's weather reports and tide tables, historical data, and looking up the course. Come on, we've all got our local secrets. So we all know that if the wind's coming from the sort of west-southwest, you get to the left of Portland, all that sort of good stuff. Any information to help us make a plan? Look, we're very lazy. We're very bad at getting plans together. So were we to, now this is technology, this is brilliant fun. Were we to have something like this, and we can sit before the start, 15 minutes before the start, whatever it is, and go, well, what's the line bias? Well, the line bias is just a little bit to the left. Yeah, so I'll just join that one in. See me doing that? And the wind shifts, well, they're kind of over here. Look, pressure differences, they're kind of down the middle, but to right of the course current, it's over here somewhere. Course bias, the race officer has done a pretty interesting job, and the wind marks over there. So now, if we were to add those scores up, we can all do it together, kids. So we've got 2, 4, 2, 6, 9, 11, 16. Puts us over here on the start line as far as that's concerned. What we tend to find is everybody starts here. Even if it's a massive pin-in favoured line, or even if there's something out to the left-hand side of the race course to attempt to over, everybody starts here. And we'll see that on the videos. See what I did there, though? That was joined in and everything. So I can get rid of all of that. Get rid of that. Move on to the next picture. You can't get away from this routine. And there is so much going on pre-start. People sailing around, oh my God, we're late. Bert hasn't turned up, whatever. But if we don't go through some of this getting pissed routine, we're not going to give ourselves a good opportunity of getting on the start line. So we end up with position, where on the start line do I want to be? We just had a chat about that. Space, how much space to lure do I want to create so I can accelerate into it? Speed, that's low boat speed control. And we'll come across that, because obviously the heavier the boat is, the less low speed stuff we want to do towards the buffer bang. Slippage, that's current. Is the current pushing me over the line, pushing me back from the line, pushing me towards a committee boat, pushing me way down to the pin? Is there something moving me around? Transit, super important. Where the heck's the start line? Where is it? And the most important one of all is time. Somebody has to give us time, because time and distance together gets us on the start line. It's quite interesting. Anybody who wants to do an America's Cup program next time around, you've got to learn how to start properly. Okay, tactical problems. Remember, other people are there to ruin your day. And we just got to defend ourselves by knowing a few rules. Just a couple, please. So we know rule 11, windward leeward. So anybody underneath us, if we're sitting still, can attack us, giving us room to avoid them. Port and starboard, same as everywhere on the race course, but the number of people that are shut their eyes almost on the start line and somebody comes and grabs them. And rule 17, which is how the overlap gets established, but we won't worry about that too much, because I don't want to get into rules too much. Just want to get off the start line. But with that in mind, We need to know what's going on around us. This circles of awareness that we always talk about on the race course is really, really, really important pre-start. So if we, oh, ding, ding. So if we just stare at our main sheet block or our toe straps, we are vulnerable to attack from anybody at any time. If that circle of awareness is slightly bigger, but we've at least got something of a safety net so we can do something about it before we get put under big pressure. So in a perfect world, we need a great big circle of awareness like that, a huge circle of awareness so that nobody can attack us. So to that end, with crews and helms, crews in particular, pre-start, crews need to be looking around all over the place. Just make sure nobody can attack us and get us into trouble and have us going backwards when the gun goes. And this is what I consider a good start. So 40 seconds after the B for bang. I'm sailing in clean air, clean water. That should be clean water, not clean winds. Clean water and going in my strategic direction. That's what I would consider to be a good start. Notice the apostrophe S. Thank you, Richard. Let's see what happens in practice. So these are genuine races. So when people tell me, oh, it doesn't happen in real life, well, here we go. You might remember some of these. Okay, this is Mounts Bay training day. So this is the very first start of a weekend all about starting. The very first start. That's the pin end there, and the camera is the committee boat. So I am the other end. I am the other end of the start line.
Everything's fine, they're fine.
Okay, so that's my 1 minute gun. So by now, I must have my plan in mind because I've only got a minute to action it. And you'll see as the camera pans around that there's an awful lot of people that obviously don't have a plan because they don't have any action going on whatsoever.
So the next ones that go, they go and come back, okay?
So this is one of those little exciting things where we go, sail for 40 seconds, see how we think, come back.
45 seconds.
Oh,
Well, come into this area here.
exactly. Oh,
Okay.
oh, it's a bit tight. Ooh.
So our fella over here came down from here, clear space, down into, oh, I'm going to change colors. Hang on a minute. Check me out. He's going to come in from down here and he's gone into this group of boats. Okay, groups of boats being slow. And all of a sudden he's having all of his freedom taken away. He's now pinned in. I think it would have been far better for him to come up to here and get into this area here so that he's in control. But there you go, what would I know? And now, this is great. Look, that's gone and we can go again. Oh no, I've got to get out of that, get into that. See how constrained that 400 gets.
30 seconds to kick off.
Port attacking lark. Oh.
Somebody on port, no danger until we get starboard boat. Most of the fleet.
Oh my word. So where's he going? He's sailing away from the line. We're not very many seconds off of starting.
I've got a start line up here. All this space here.
15 seconds to go. So unless there's some America's Cup boats there. We're excited about this guy. He's doing quite a lot of acceleration stuff, which I think is quite good. Should give me that, that's great. Although any jury member watching that would be up behind him blowing his whistle because he's just rocking the boat out far too much. But at least he's trying to get some acceleration so that he's accelerated on the buffer bang, not accelerating on the buffer bang. The lark down on the pin end is good. That 400 that had control, look, is sitting here now. Head to wind, sailing off for the start line. So that wasn't very clever, I don't think. However, some people would say that's not the worst start in the world compared to.
That's your start, ladies and gentlemen. That's your first start. Well,
Oh dear.
we're going to improve upon that.
Oh dear.
Good people.
Oh dear.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's a laser down there. So far away, I can't even make out if it's a laser or not. So the one thing,
After 40 seconds.
no. The one thing that we can do is make sure that we're on the start line on time. So that buffer bang business is really useful.
Fine.
No, not that one. Thank you. Now then, this is Castle Cove. It's a place that, do you remember we used to go sailing once upon a time? It was quite good fun. The bigger the boat, the heavier the boat, the more time you have to give yourself to get up to speed. A dinghy, 7 seconds, 5 seconds. That's absolutely fine. We can throw it around a little bit like that D1 was thrown around. But a keel boat, we need to give ourselves a minute to get up to somewhere like full speed. So the way that we start a keel boat has to be very different to the way that we sail an osprey. Sorry, Kev, a keel boat, a dinghy. So a keel boat, long and slow, a lightweight dinghy, we can afford to be a bit more cavalier. So let's have a look at these keel boats. Oh.
Okay, coming up to the 1 minute.
Beautifully light weather day. Oh. So that's my 1 minute gun and people are moving, which is super duper.
For these guys to work with. I am a meter in front of the.
So the line is here. And I'm a meter in front of the start line. The start line's back here a little bit. And I'm looking at things like the edge of these trees and that white house there. That's a safe transit. The edge of these trees would be an online transit for the sailors.
Line, just so you know.
Pin end favored line, by the way, everybody. And that obviously is something that we'd ascertain as we're sitting doing our planning. It's also one of those horrible days where we're racing off towards 8 or 7 or whatever it is up against the wall and the wind's breaking down. So which way are we going to go strategically?
There's room for these guys to come in, so that's okay. So they're not squeezing in here. That's good. Keep going, Billiam. Good call from Steve.
Okay, so good communication from Steve saying to the helmsman, keep moving. Speed is everything now for these big boats. Absolutely everything. Okay, that's your start line. So not bad from William, not bad at all. And in the real world, that's not bad. Come on, let's not be crazy about this. Could we be further down towards the pin? Possibly.
Nice start from the key boat boys.
2 boats have done very well. 3 boats have done very well. That's a nice close start.
John saying that a flare was over the line, surely.
Negative. Okay.
Kirsty's now eating dirty air. Going to be tacking. Using the right-hand side of the race course. And now disturb herself because all of that speed's gone.
So that's a classic. So we sit there thinking, well, attack won't cost me very much. A keel boat in these conditions, it's going to take 2 or 3 minutes to get up to full speed again. Plus you've tacked in dirty air, so that's going to be even slower again. The only good thing Kirsty's got going for her here is she's now the only boat going out to the right-hand side of the race course, which might be good strategically, but we're talking about start lines here. Time and distance is all that went wrong there. Somebody forgot that it would take them a long time to get up to that start line. So port end start line as well, pin end start line, so it takes you longer to get there. Oh dear.
Going third of the speed of everybody else. Speed being a relative term, of course.
Yeah, we're not hydrofoiling yet.
There's a lovely match going on between these 2 guys.
And again, that's sort of tactics and strategy. We won't worry about that for a couple of weeks.
Okay, next start coming up in 4 minutes. Looking out to go into this breeze over here. Strategically, could be a good move.
Oh, it's all exciting,
Bill,
isn't
of
it?
course, can't tack because he's got 2 boats on his hip. So just hoping to nose down and get into that breeze by the wall and just keep on going, guys.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. Yes. So this is the slow kill boats a few moments later.
Slow class, and we've got guys coming in with speed here. It's really important, as we've seen from that first start, if you don't have full speed at the line, you will be vulnerable.
And I suggest it's even harder for
Coming
these
in with
guys.
pace. There's plenty of room here, look. The Sonata can't get up, these guys can't get up, and the Hawk's sailing away. So there's going to be all this space here, 30 seconds.
Now, with the greatest respect, 30 seconds is not the time to be sailing away from the start line in any boat, really. Probably not the Hawk. On port, going through a group of starboard boats.
Time and distance. It's all about time and distance, kids. 20 seconds. Wind up.
So this is where we really do need the bowman talking to the helmsman to tell them where they are, how far away from the line they are.
Full speed now, guys.
Gun.
Okay, so they got the most speed on, which is good news.
You'll see a mark in a minute.
The other one.
That's not the start line.
This is that discussion point where the line is, and first boat's coming up to the line now. That's got to be a good 15 seconds, kids.
That's 23 seconds.
There's 23 seconds, is it?
Okay, how many times have we lost a race by less than 20 seconds? Tons and tons and tons of times. So this is the leader. So somebody could be, in a perfect world, 23 seconds ahead of these boats right now. This is the first boat crossing the line.
So the first boat crossed the line 23 seconds after the gun, which means it's a safe start. But that speed locked in. Main's overshooted a bit, fellas, for this light stuff, but we weren't working on that, so that's okay.
And I'm going to let this run because I think Sarah tells us how long it took for the last boat to cross. And this is just the start line. So this is, we've thrown away
So this is a 4 minute coming up, isn't it?
an awful lot of opportunity by being late on the start line. It's a minute.
Okay. Interestingly enough, 1 minute and 5. Okay, so 1 minute and 5 seconds, the last boat crossed the start line.
Interesting. Haha.
Okay.
Okay, so we just watched 2 killboat starts, and very good they were too, but they do rely upon people putting the trucks on early, at least a minute, ladies and gentlemen, to your start, your final approach to that start line, and make sure you know where you're going. You're going to find out how strong the pin end is on this start. I'll let it run. Dinghies, it's a lot easier for us to sit on the start line and hover and wait, but there is still a good 7 seconds to get up to full speed again. And if we're sitting there slowly, remember how vulnerable we might be. So let's just see what goes on with this one.
Coming up to the dinghy start. And obviously there's a very different game because these guys can accelerate much more readily. So we're looking at position on the line rather than coming up to the line. Okay, that's the 1 minute. So he couldn't do that, apart from the fact that it's not his final approach to the start. Be interested to see how busy this is. We got young Nick working hard on this end here, so he's obviously trying to get somewhere toward the committee boat end. Obviously, the risks he's running now is not being able to get in here, but he's got 30 odd seconds yet, so he's just waiting. Okay, that's interesting. So he's now moving down the line. People taking position. So they're all setting up a little bit lower of the line, giving themselves that 7 seconds to get accelerated. A lot of holding going on here. 12 seconds to go. So some of them will be winding up. The heavier boats will definitely be winding up. knobs. Nice acceleration from Nick. Sitting comfortably. Accelerated on the buffer bang, not accelerating.
Okay, so keep an eye out for the, I think it's a phantom, right down on the pin end.
Work on the port approach. It's going to be a problem because there's a bunch of starboard boats here. Oh no, there's a nice gap for them. That's lovely.
I think Sandra and Jenny coming across.
Yes, it is. Sandra and Jenny coming across into cleaner and cleaner air here. What are they going to do with our Nicholas?
Way off in the left there, oh, sorry, in that middle piece there,
Yes,
we've got a nice little
there.
phantom that was the pin end boat.
Now sailing increasingly into clean air.
Obviously sailing in clean air and clean water.
On the long leg to the windward mark at the moment, so that's nice.
It's easy for you to say.
Okay, this idea of dirty water and dirty air, it's just horrible. Look at this.
Okay, so strong cross from the pin end. Keel boats are marched up the course.
Pin end favoured.
Okay, see if we can move on to the next one.
Okay.
No. Yes. Right, so this is the following Wednesday, a little bit more breeze and obviously from a completely different direction and a very biased start line to the pin end.
Okay, so this is the second Wednesday we're looking at. Very nice. 4 minute coming up for the Z class. So the good. It's a keel boat for the same piece of water now. The start line is there, so that should transit up through there, I hope. Okay.
What I'll do is I'll start that again.
So we've got keelboats rolling, obviously. Love and bless and squeeze them. Somebody's sailing away from the line. So Mike's working towards the pin end. I'd be rolling now, boys. Got a minute to go. I'd absolutely be rolling now.
Okay, so this is the Wednesday after the last film that we took. And the last film that we took, we'll all remember that there were two starts: fast keelboat start, slow keelboat start. That was the last race of that series. Check your SIs, because this series, there's an all-in keelboat start. Everybody starts together. Now, you wouldn't worry about that, would you? Because everybody would know that.
Get it pin end favoured. It's going to take quite a bit of effort getting up to the line. Look at the angle Mike's taking to get there.
Don't forget, pin end, if you're going to be on starboard, it's going to take you a long time to get there. So travel early.
Big gap here, obviously, because it's pin end favoured. Looking at Mike's boat sheeting in, strong pin end favouritism. Late. People are late.
And there's an Achilles up over the far side there, trying to get in. And boats a long way away from the start line. Okay, that's the start. That's the start pin, just in the picture, just by the harbour entrance. And there are people just a long way away from the start line. We can see on the left-hand side of the picture there, somebody's, what, a minute away?
All clear. First boat crossing the line now.
The real world, that's perfectly acceptable.
Oh, nice little port tack job going on at the bottom down there with an Achilles. That'll be expensive.
Yeah, that's a boat builder's dream. And this is the point that we can all do better. Just that time and distance thing. It's so easy to sail away from the start line because there's so much going on. But if you're sailing away from the start line in the last 2 or 3 minutes, somebody on that boat has got to ask themselves, why are we going this way? And there's got to be a very good reason indeed.
No, it's the second start. There is no second start.
Ha ha! The penny has dropped. That's Kevin trying to be a keelboat in his Osprey. We all know. We all know.
Okay. 1 minute.
On that one. that one. So this is now the dinghy start.
Just missed the 1 minute warning.
So technically, Harriet can't start, can they? Because the 4 minutes gone.
There's
But
the pin end of the line. 30 seconds possibly.
okay, there's a pin end.
Okay, Harriet's just made it.
And look, lots of boats down at the pin end. Question, too many boats, does that make a crowd? That's kind of the things you have to balance up. Are the lasers in a better position, or is the pin end so strong that you have to be there and tack away from it, flip out from there as early as possible? And again, dinghy's just sitting waiting because they can, because it's cool. And that's a heck of a lot of distance. You know, we're talking about probably a 50-yard, 100-yard difference from the pin end to the committee boat end.
One, go.
Great bit of accelerator from a couple of those lasers and the RS. Beautiful work. And see how the group is traveling slower than people who are free. Harry's come back, he's forgotten his bags. Okay. So I've got one last video to finish with. Yeah. And I just want to get across this whole point that it's, if we don't plan to start, then we've got problems ahead of us. And we can all look at watches and we can all make an estimate of how far our boat is going to be away from the start line. And that's an opportunity for somebody to be on that boat all the time saying things like, it's 3 minutes to go to the start and we are 2 minutes away from the start line. We are 1 minute, 30 seconds away from the start line. You don't have to be super accurate. You're not going to be brilliant to start with. Nobody is. How can you be? But if we start doing it and you go, crikey, we were still 10 seconds late, or blimey, we were a minute early, you know that you can alter the time it takes to get you there. You'll get familiar with how long it takes your boat to get up to speed and get up to the line. And ideally, we want to be accelerated, not accelerating, on the buffer bang. So this last start, I was doing some work with the cadets on a Castle Cove start line, and it was quite light, Castle Cove race, and just interesting, just really interesting, again, to me.
Okay, folks, so we are 2 minutes and 22 seconds away from the first race in the World Championships. Breeze is dropping. It's been dropping all the time. Looking at the clouds here, we're not expecting any great puffs coming in, so this is nothing like the forecast.
And that's the sort of chat I'm having all the time, curiously enough. What's going on around me? What's the nowcast? You know, the forecast said something was going to happen. It was going to be a force 25 or whatever it is. But the reality of where we are in the here and now is this. And yes, the forecast might lead us to make a decision, a strategic decision later, but this is what we're sailing in right now, and we've got to get off the start line. So as long as it's going to be like this for the next 3 minutes, we can make a plan for this start line.
In this light airs, then it's essential that we are in touch with the start line.
So never sail away from it.
Doesn't look like anybody wants to play with the fin.
Now that's a lie.
We've got a little bit of a cavalry charge going on. The 14 boys. Got a lot of big boats up here. Osprey completely oversheeted, overkicked, I suspect, looking at those creases. Contender to windward, taking a bit of a risk. He's got 1 minute 35 seconds to get down. I'd say he's going to loop in and join the cavalry charge.
Okay, light airs. You often don't get the opportunity or the choice. You know, sometimes you're stuck there. But if I had the choice to keep away from boats in light airs, I would do it. Dirty wind in light airs it just sticks on you forever and a day. So trying to avoid that if I can. This cavalry charge business at the committee boat end is always fraught with danger. What's really interesting is the number of people who are approaching on port. So at least they've got an option if it looks like it's getting really ugly, that they can tack out and go back.
I'm going to back off a little bit because I think it's going to be quite busy in here in a moment. 24 seconds to the 1 minute gun. Oh, he's going into the middle of the line. Okay, that's interesting.
Oh, that's good to see.
Rick down at the Wayfarers down at the bottom end. Has he been calling shifts in? Do you think there's going to be a header when we go starting? Oh, looking at that. No, that's just a solo overshooted. That's okay. Recovery charge. 1 minute gun.
So all I'm doing is looking at boats around me to see if I can get any clues as to what the wind's doing. Sails are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. They're a really accurate way of telling me what's going on. And it's not the sails on my boat that I'm interested in, it's the solo over there or what's happening at the pin or what have you. So I'm always trying to keep that circle of awareness as big as possible so I don't get caught out. You still get caught out.
Mark, for interest's sake, it's quite easy to see. He lied down by the bridge there. So yes, that's quite good. That's still to windward as far as we're concerned.
Hope that Enterprise
Lots of
isn't
activity
racing.
going on now. 40 seconds to go. Matt moving along the line. Will trying to get up to the line. I wonder if there was a decent transit on the far end there. You bet your bottom dollar there will be. Possibly that smoking ship would have been something useful.
Now then, this little boat over here is a little Wayfarer with little Richard in it. And little Richard is a bit of a sneak at sniffing out port end starts. Always has been, always will be, I suspect. Bearing in mind, it's a Wayfarer, one of the heaviest boats on the water.
24 seconds to go. Osprey 1296 taxing too low.
Too low, Kev.
We've only got 20 seconds, lads.
Okay, look how that dirty air is just gripping everybody.
Come on, cadet, move.
Everybody gets held up by dirty air.
So no OCSE.
And on the far side, on the pin end, you'll see the little black shape of a Wayfarer thumping along.
What's going to happen here? Already it's tricky.
Okay. Look at this group of boats. All of the boats in that circle are really, really struggling. That's a Merlin rocket there. It's one of the fastest boats on the water, and it can't get out of its own way.
This whole club got a Merlin rocket stuck in there. So the Merlin rocket
I just said that.
Easily one of the fastest boats here. Can't go anywhere. Big lift coming on. Not too open on that jib, Theo. That's really quite open, mate.
America's Cup Sailing.
Is that Max tacking? Yes. Okay, Max, well done, nice and patient. Jamie breaking away to the right-hand side, just getting away from this whole group of boats. Looks like it was a pin end start, but
There he is. Clean air, clean water, strategic direction. In that, he's trying to get it on top of the rest of the fleet. And this is in a Wayfarer, big, heavy
now we've got a
Wayfarer.
lift. So are the cadet, is the Wayfarer going to cross everybody? Wayfarers bow up now. So we've got 2 cadets in clean air. People travelling. Then have a look at that jibber.
Okay, that's the end of that. Change cameras. We're going to change cameras. Do we change? Are we on? Brilliant. So short but sweet, 50 minutes of simple start line technology. Plan. If you don't plan, you've got nothing. Planning takes a bit of time. Now, a lot of that stuff can happen before you even go to the sailing club, weather forecasts and tide tables and stuff like that. But give yourself, if you can, the 15 minutes. You don't have to sail up the whole beat, but try and do a couple of little test beats. And when you're doing a test beat, looking at your rig, look at the compass and just see if there's any movement going on. We can all of us be on that start line at the buffer bang. Certainly we can be within 10 seconds of the start line at the buffer bang. And to start with, that's all we need to do. It's harder to do that in a big keelboat because big keelboats take a wind up. But if you're racing against other keelboats, we're all winding up the same. There really is no reason for you to be 1 minute and 5 seconds late of the start. Absolutely no reason at all. And you don't have to win every start to win every race, but if you start off 1 minute behind everybody, it's going to be pretty tricky for you to do anything about it. I hope some of that was useful. And have we got any questions?
Nothing on the chat at the moment.
That's good. Don't have questions because we've got a film to watch. So the next discussion we're going to have, and I hope that was helpful, is about leeward mark rounding. So now you're going to go to bed and you're going to think about how you can improve your starts, how you can make a better plan, maybe make that little Vangelis thing up, Vangelis thing up. Anything to just make you closer to that start line. So when that buffer bang goes, you are in the video shot. You're not in the video shot 30 seconds later when the camera pans around with that slightly disappointed tone in my voice, which you should never experience.
I'd just like to say thank you very much for your talk. Have you finished? Sorry.
Yeah, I've finished.
Yes, now.
Everyone's muted at the minute, so if you'd like to unmute, we can give Adam and Richard a clap for the fantastic evening tonight.
Oh, that's very kind.
Just a pregnant pause while everyone.
I tell you what, Richard's been working like an absolute demon on the technology.
Brilliant.
We have recorded this session, so it will be available on our YouTube site later on. I'll send you a link.
I mean,
Sorry, Richard, there's a bit of feedback there.
I'll put it on the chat.
Yeah,
I'll put it on the chat.
What the issue was there? It did say she could send it and it might be accepted. Well, that's silly because that's the way
Are we on? Are we off? Are we on? Are we off? We're done.
We're done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks.